All right, something I get asked all the time is, why do I travel so much? People check out my videos on the other channel and they notice every time it's a totally different background. It's not a green screen. I actually move places. Now the question is, why the hell do I travel so much? And I thought about the answer, and the easiest and simplest way I can explain it to you is, let's say you want to go do some shopping, right? You need things for the house. Right, so you need perhaps meat, you need eggs, and you need hair products, etc. Right, so if you go to a supermarket, right, I imagine the supermarket as you being in your own country. If you go to the supermarket, sure, you're gonna find those products, but is it gonna be the best meat and also the best hair products and also the best milk? Probably not, right? So this is how I look at it. So instead of me being in one place, i.e. the supermarket, I go to different places depending on what they're best at. Okay, so for example, if I were single and I was searching for a wife or a girlfriend, I'm definitely not going to go to the United States to search for a girlfriend or wife. I'm going to go to Eastern Europe, be it Kiev, Russia, somewhere in East Europe, because that's where, in my opinion, the most beautiful, the most feminine girls are. Now, if I were to skip winter, for example, and not be in that cold weather throughout winter, I'm not gonna stay in East Europe. I'm going to go to Thailand, for example, during the winter time. If I'm going to do some shopping, I wanna, do a lot of shopping. Again, I wouldn't be somewhere in Western Europe. I'd probably be somewhere in Asia, China, Thailand, somewhere where shopping is optimal. So as you can see, each country has its own set of advantages. And staying in one country is by far the biggest mistake you can possibly make. And I'm gonna tell you why in a bit. If you are staying in one country, you are a tax resident of that country. Pretty much every country, even now in Dubai, it's 9% tax. So if you are a high net worth individual, if you are a wealthy person, if you are making, let's say, $1 million a year, 9% is a lot of money. It's 90K. Now, 9%, that's the best case scenario. In other countries in Europe, you're gonna pay 20 plus, some countries over 40%. Now, my question to you is this: is the country where you're staying at providing you services that are worth 40K a year or 100K a year or 200K a year? Most likely not. So here's another idea for you. Think about all the taxes that you'd be paying in your home country, no matter where you are, right? Calculate that amount. Normally, it's a significant sum. Now, think what you can actually do with that money if you did not pay it to your government. One, you can go buy your own healthcare and not rely on the public healthcare of your government. Two, you can pay cheaper housing, most likely, if you move to countries like Thailand, somewhere in Asia, somewhere in South America. And three, you can actually spend it on yourself. You can travel, see new places, not be stuck in one place, change according to the weather. So for example, you can spend the summer in Europe and then you can spend the winter in Thailand or in South America or whatever it may be. And so you can utilize the money, let's say 200K a year. You can use that money, spend it on yourself, and guess what? You're probably not gonna be able to spend all of it because it's a lot of money. And so even if you get the best healthcare, you do some shopping, you travel around, you're still gonna be left with change. Now, in my opinion, it's way better to spend that money on yourself to decide where it goes instead of just going out there, giving it to the government, hoping they're gonna make the right decisions with that money. Spoiler alert, most likely they're not, because most governments are simply corrupt. You're basically paying for politicians to fly private, and you're paying for their security and many other things. But if you are moving around and you're not a tax resident of one particular country, you can actually save that money and spend it where you want it to be. Another big advantage of traveling, if you are planning to have a family, if you're planning to have kids, if you have the kids in the country where you're born, the kids are simply going to have the same residency, the same citizenship of the country where you're born. However, believe it or not, there's a lot of countries, especially South of America, where I am right now in Argentina. If you give birth in that country, your son will get the local passport, the local citizenship. And what's even better is that also parents can apply to become citizens of that country just based on the fact that your son is a citizen. Now, there are plenty of countries you can do that in Canada and the United States, although I don't really like what's happening there, so I wouldn't want my kid to have that citizenship. But you can do that in many other countries, especially in South of America. For example, Mexico or Chile are very common destinations where people go to give birth. And you get the citizenship, and they are pretty solid passports that you can use so that, you open more doors, you can travel more, and you can have different passports that complement each other. Now, especially at the time where I'm shooting this video, you can look around you throughout the world and you can realize that the world doesn't seem to be going to the right direction. It's starting to smell like World War III is happening, and trust me, I hope not, because it's bad news for everybody. But you can see the situation between Russia and Ukraine, things are escalating, situation in Israel, situation with Iran, situation with China and Taiwan, a mess is going on. And being able to travel and be away from that mess as much as you can. Again, I'm giving you an example of where I am right now, which is Buenos Aires, Argentina. That is probably one of the most remote locations you can be in case World War III starts, in case there's a nuclear war. This is probably going to be one of the safest locations because they've really never been involved in a world war, and so there's really no reason why they're going to be fighting with other countries. And again, it's all speculations. I'm not saying that they're not going to be involved. I have no idea what would happen in such case, but you can see by just moving, your odds of avoiding such catastrophes are going to be much higher than, say, if you were in East Europe right now and something just gets escalated between NATO and Russia. And again, I'm talking about all those kind of basic benefits without touching on all the opportunities that you get by just traveling. You open your eyes on so many new markets, you learn about so many new products or opportunities that do not exist in different locations. So if you've ever traveled to Thailand, you realize that their market and their products are very, very different than what you would see in Europe. If you have traveled to South of America, you also realize that here they have products and things that do not exist in the West, for example. So all of that and networking and communicating with the local people, doesn't matter where you go, will open your eyes onto so many new opportunities, and it will allow you to actually make more money in return. Now, obviously, the downside of traveling is that you cannot have like an actual job. So you're gonna have to work something online. However, nowadays it's easier than ever to make a few $1,000 online. Again, I'm not gonna teach you anything. I'm not here to sell you anything, not my thing anymore. But if you really want to do that, I'm sure you're gonna find an easy way to do that online without, having to work a 9-to-5 job. But so there you have it. This is why I travel nonstop, and I'm able to grow my business and to see new places and to save on taxes and to experience new countries all the time without being stuck in one place. And I really recommend you try and do the same, because to be honest, it's amazing. Anyways, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Bye-bye.